Hafida, and welcome to our interview with the CNMI Judiciary as they celebrate 35 years and are preparing to host engaging events in the coming weeks. We are privileged to be joined by the Chief Justice Castro and Presiding Judge Naraja. Thank you both for joining us in this program to share with the community some of the great things happening
Thank you, Tom.
in this branch of government. So maybe we'll start with the 35th anniversary. It's a pivotal time for the judiciary. What does this moment mean, Chief Justice?
Okay, basically back in May 2nd, 1989, a statute was passed by the legislature establishing the Supreme Court and the Superior Court on a statutory level. And at that time, the trial court was the trial court and renamed as the Superior Court. So from then on in 1997, the legislature passed Legislative Initiative 10-3, establishing now the Supreme Court and the Superior Court as in the Constitution as constitutional courts. So it is an honor, and thank you, Tomas, for revisiting this issue. So the judiciary has a lot of programs set up for the rest of the month.
And PJ, what's your comment on the judiciary's birthday?
Oh, I'm pretty excited that CJ is now sitting and I sitting as presiding judge. Together we work really close in making sure that we improve the judicial system. With us, we have Justice Manglona, Justice Enos, and at the Superior Court we have Judge Govendo, Judge Camacho, Judge Kim Tenorio, and now we have Judge Ada Tenorio. So it's been a long ways, and with all the justices and the judges, I believe that the health of the judiciary is pretty well up there.
35 years is not a long time, relatively speaking. CJ, what would you say are some of the major milestones of the judiciary, and maybe where's the judiciary heading in your perspective?
Basically, looking back, first the icon of the rule of law, and that's the courthouses. There was basically no courthouse on Rota. Tenian, we were using classrooms, farmers market in Rota, and I think the OLED's program, we took over their building in Sinapolo. Now we have the Guma Justicia on Saipan. We have the Cotintinian in Tenian and the Central Justicia on Rhoda. They're concrete houses. I know that Typhoon U2 destroyed the skylight of our Guma Justicia, and it took us a while to put it back, but I am so happy that the icon of the rule of law are in place on Rhoda, Tenian, and Saipan.
And PJ, when you look at the Superior Court, what would you say have been some of the major milestones? I mean, I could think of a few in terms of the treatment courts that have come up in the past few years, but yeah, what's your perspective?
That's probably, I think you hit it right on point. The milestone is that we are now establishing several specialty court. The first one was the drug court, and now the mental health court docket. We still want to move forward. We're looking at other courts. We want to revisit the DUI specialty court. We want to explore also the environmental court. And then we're looking at the family court specialty court as well as the reentry court. And lastly, the juvenile behavioral specialty courts. So these are the courts that we look forward. It's a new trend. We want to start treating our defendants rather than just putting them in jail. So it's a big step.
And as I mentioned, there's your calendar is busy both in the courtroom and outside of it right now. You have several events coming up. Did we want to talk a little bit about what's coming up, CJ, in the judiciary?
I don't have. I think there are a lot of events coming
Yeah,
up.
you have Treatment Courts Month in May, Law Day Essay and Poster Contest, the annual AG's Cup, High School Mock Trial, Moot Court competitions. I know the Moot Court team is also just coming back from Santa Barbara with the placing 7th, I believe. So, what is the importance of holding these events and engaging with the community?
The purpose of these events, plus especially the moot court, and we have the CNMI moot court team now in Santa Barbara, California, competing, and I am happy to report to the people that our students there are doing pretty well. I mean, number 7 so far among the on the national level. Wow. So this events are really for the students so that they can get to know the legal system, how the court works. So hopefully when we grow old, and we're old already, we need replacements for these students to come in and replace the sitting judges and justices so that the rule of law can continue to flourish throughout the Mariana Islands.
Yeah, PJ, you're no stranger to these engagement, especially with the youth. Yeah, what's the importance of doing that as a court?
Well, one of the big contribution we put together, CJ, is the pre-law program. By having the pre-law program, at first it was almost every year, and now we're staging it years and maybe a couple of years in between. The pre-law, basically, we saw the need to assist and help our citizens as the student, basically, and help them enter the law school. For years, we've been sending prospective students to law school, and look how much benefit we receive. Many of these students are now judges and justices. So that is really a big thing that we did, right, CJ? It's hopefully we can do that also with the medical section of our government, send people to school.
Anything else you want to add about the events? I know one of the big ones coming up is the Covenant Day Conversacion. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're very lucky to have covenant negotiators, Mr. Pete A. Tenorio, Aguti Tenorio, in the panel, and also Manny Sablon. And we're fortunate to have Leolani from the AG's office, and Miss Lillian, Judge Tenorio now, sorry. And so that we can have kind of revisit, sit back and look at the covenant that established the Commonwealth, the way the Commonwealth was set up by these people back then, and see how it is going, whether it's going good for the people of Rota, Tinian, and Saipan. I know one of the things that the governor has, I think is already in motion, is trying to set up the 902 team so that we can sit down with the other side of the fence, which is the United States, and look at whether the status that we now have is working as it was intended from the beginning. I know that the U.S. some issues, the CNMI have some issues, and the 902 provision was established there to make sure that every now and then the two sides will sit together on the table and go through the plus and the minuses of the covenant and try to improve it.
I wanted to ask you both a big question is about where you see what the future of the court. Maybe some things you'd like to see accomplished, or the role that the court will evolve to play in the community for the next 35 plus years. Hey, PJ?
Well, I think that the Chief Justice before us, De La Cruz, when they put together this building, the judiciary building, I was looking that maybe we should have anticipated that as time goes on, our cases will increase, our population will increase, and that we should have designed a building that could go up to possibly a third or a fourth floor, because the land area is limited. And if we had kind of anticipate the expansion, um, we won't have any more white here. We won't be having issues because we still need to expand our building. Uh, there are areas that we need to improve, and right now I believe Justice Manglona is working on expanding the northern part of the building so that we can have the technology division there. We've been doing a lot to improve our technology, so we need a separate space just for them so that we secured all the technology equipment in there.
And CJ, what do the next phase of the court look like?
We have the strategic plan. I don't have him right in front of me right now, but basically that plan, we're looking at the next 5 years, how we are going to answer to the people in terms of judicial services. But I would like to make sure that the court buildings are in place, are renovated or maintained on Rhoda, Tinian, and Saipan, and as President Naraja said, maybe it's time to also build other buildings to accommodate the other functions of the courts. Right now the Guma Justicia looks big, but it is now very small. We don't even have the jury room yet fully established, when every time we call people for jury service to report this to this particular room and work with the court so that by the time they get to the courtroom at 9 o'clock in the morning, everybody in, the lawyers, the judge, and the court is ready to move forward with the jury trial. And I'm talking not only about Saipan, but I want to make sure that that happens on Rhoda, Tinian, and Tinian too.
All right. Thank you both so much for your time. We appreciate it.